This is Android Basics, in which we bring you up to date on the things that you should know to use your Android phone.
And now we turn to our Android Basics section. And as I said, this episode is an AI theme. And it's quite exciting because there have been a whole bunch of announcements from Google. And I'd like Warren to talk us about some of these because these are pretty seismic, I think. They're quite exciting.
It is indeed, and quite a big week in AI because it's not only Google. We will be talking about seeing AI here, and also finally people got the Be My AI from Be My Eyes also dropping this week. So it's a big week of AI in general. So it seems like this was all coordinated. I don't know. Sakib, I wonder if you guys were coordinating these things, but anyway, it's nice to see that we have such a big week in AI. And now that we're talking about Google, Google came out and dropped all that they could. And we have 3 different models of the AI from Google based on Project Gemini, which is the one that powers it all. If people remember Bard that we had last year when Google brought Bard being powered by Palm, and now we have Gemini powering this. And we got 3 of these things. We got the Ultra, and the Ultra, I see that probably something that would become more just a subscription based, especially for big companies and things like that, because we're talking huge projects here. So Ultra will not be for knuckleheads like me and all of that. Then we have the Pro, which is also going to be powering Bard, which consumers could tap into that as well. But then we have the Nano, which is the most important one. And that's because when we look at AI, it is so huge. And for Google to find a way of bringing it to the phone in the way of the Nano version, and so that you could do things on your phone without the need to connect to the internet, this is something we've been wanting for quite a long time. And to see that happening, I think it's a big win-win. And Pixel phones, especially the Pixel 8 Pro in particular, is the one that's taking advantage of that. And so if you got that feature drop, the Pixel drop, the December drop that we've been talking about, we talked about the betas and all of that, this December feature drop that includes things like Pixel 5a up to the Pixel 8 Pro. But that AI part of it is only for Pixel 8 Pro phones. So if you don't have that Pixel 8 Pro phone, you're not going to be able to take advantage of that. And people may be asking, what are some of these things? I think right now there are some of the things that are available is that recording summary. For example, we record something and it can just summarize it for you, give you the text and, bulleting some of the important portions so you know where to go if you want something like that. And of course, finally, video boost and all of that finally happening. So those are some of the things that we are seeing here in that Nano version of the Project Gemini. And alongside with that, though, there was some 4 critical exploits that Google fixed. And one of them actually affected everybody. It's an exploit that everyone had, whether you're on Apple, you're on Linux. It has to do with that Bluetooth. But Google fixed that. I don't know what Apple has done. Apple hasn't done it yet or not, and whether Linux is fixed it or not. But we know that if you have a Google phone that is fixed, or an Android phone is fixed, but you have to be at least, I think it's Android 11 or higher. Actually, maybe not even Android 11. If you don't have this December security patch, I think that would probably leave you in the cold. So I don't know what's going to happen, but basically it's a vulnerability, an exploit that someone could use a Bluetooth to access or control your phone. And so, like I said, it's not only just Google, but all the major operating systems, including Fruitvale.
That sounds a little bit cataclysmic, doesn't it? Hopefully, everyone will be able to sort that out.
I hope so too, because this is huge. But there are like 40 fixes that came along with this, and I'm glad to see that some of the features that were not yet here, if one wasn't in the QPR beta, now we have those as part of this December feature drop.
Yeah, definitely. What I think is interesting, and I'm a fairly agnostic guy. I get that people on here are less agnostic than me. There's been a lot of chat about whether manufacturers should make software features on their devices available to others. So this most notably comes across on Apple in terms of iMessage, and they squashed some little third party provider, and they get a flag for that in the Android community, which I get. But also, Google seems to be making software features available on its phones that aren't available anywhere else. Where do you stand on Google doing that? Is that defensible, or should their AI features in reality not be made available to the 8 and 8 Pro only, and actually be made available to other Android devices and other Google apps that run on non-Android devices? Where do you stand on that?
I think that sometimes some of these things, are downright to marketing tricks and things like that. I'm looking at Pixel 7 or Pixel 6 series, for example, that didn't have that guided, frames thing for the back of the camera like we have in the Pixel 8 series. But talking about that, you see, now that has come to these phones as well. So it's just a matter of time. And sometimes all manufacturers do that, or companies do that, because they want to make people buy a particular product based on a certain feature that has come to that device and all of that. And then also some things are kind of limited because of some cultural limitations. And when I talk about cultural limitations, some countries may say, no, we don't want this, or maybe some religious whatever will say, we don't want this. And that's one of the reasons why sometimes we see apps coming in other countries without certain features and all of that. I mean, looking at WhatsApp, for example, in some 65 or so countries, you're not going to get the full blown WhatsApp features and all of that and things like that. So governments have a say in some of these things, and so it takes a while. And I'm looking at the thermometer in the Pixel 8 Pro, which is not very active right now. I can't take measurements of my temperature until it gets approved. So one of these things has to do with regional concerns and religious or cultural concerns. So I understand that.
Yeah, and the thermometer's where it's hot, isn't it, in this debate?
Yeah, it is hard, and I would love to be able to use it. But whether it comes or not, it's there, and when it's the right time for them to turn it loose, then it's there to take advantage of it. It's just like the Seeing AI that we waited for so long, and all that matters is that it's now here. And
I
talking
agree.
about that, yeah. So Ed, the other one though that we don't want to leave in the dust is the Bima AI that we mentioned earlier. That also came out this week. So it's just nice to see that people have that on Android, because it's one of those things that people have been talking about, and a lot of people were upset about it. I wasn't, because I knew the guys were saying it was coming this year, and they kept to their word. And sure enough, it was there on December 4th, the very same day that Seeing AI came out.
It was. We demonstrated the beta when it came to Android. You'll recall that some early adopters got that. We did that 2 or 3 weeks ago now, so that is now here. Do you use it? Do you play with it? I think it's a good addition to the Be My Eyes app on Android. So it's there for many more people, and I am glad, as you say, they hit the target of doing that before the end of the year.
I'm glad, yeah, because people were a little bit angry about it. But it's one of those things that, we're talking about. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time for these things to come through. And sometimes it's maybe some limitations, or maybe the staffing is not there and all of that, of course. But, ordinary users like me, knuckleheads like me, we do not know that. But most important thing, it's here for everyone.
One thing I would say, we've spoken today about the Be My AI functionality of Be My Eyes and Seeing AI. What you can't do yet with Be My AI on Android, but you can do with Seeing AI, is you can share a picture with Seeing AI and have it described. That, I think, is quite an important point to make. That functionality exists in Be My Eyes on iOS. It doesn't yet on Android, but Seeing AI have brought this to Android. So if you want to have a picture described, then you can use the Seeing AI app for that. It will appear in the share sheet. Do it. What you might notice though is you get a fairly brief description, and you can tap the more info button. That point was made in the interview, but I think it's important to make it here.